Go with, what is this, chapter 7, isn't it? Not makeup time. Chapter 7? Is that what it is? Cool beans, protective equipment. You need to know these three types of protective equipment. Okay, there's commercial equipment. You know what commercial equipment is? Well, you can just go over there and buy it. Huh? Commercial means just you just go into Academy, you can buy it. Go into Dick's Sporting Goods. What? That's Miss Bates. Yeah, well, that's really not what you're going to find in the training room, right? Commercial equipment is equipment bought through a sporting goods dealer. Prophylactic equipment is equipment that is designed to prevent injuries or to protect injuries from occurring. The same thing. Can something be prophylactic equipment and commercial equipment? You sure? Can I buy an e-brace in a store? Can I buy elbow pads in a store? Is that prophylactic? Is it trying to keep my elbow from getting hurt? Can I buy ankle braces at Dick's Sporting Goods or Academy? So they can. They can be prophylactic and commercial. Then there is the customized equipment. Equipment designed for one individual's needs for protection. Okay? Can customized be a prophylactic equipment? Sure. Give me an example. What? Huh? Yeah, they customize. Yeah, I've seen customized face masks. Huh? If I go to the doctor and I have knee surgery and they measure my leg, specifically for my leg, right? Is that customized for one person, right? So is it prophylactic? Is it help to prevent injury from occurring? So can customized be commercial? Why? Commercial, store bought. Yeah, then the store's not going to buy one single deal for your measurement, right? And try and sell it to all the public. You're going to have to go and get it customized. So you can have commercial. Prophylactic can be both commercial and customized, but customized and commercial cannot be the same. Got it? Might have to pick you up on that when it comes to question time. Helmet. What are jobs? What's the job of a helmet? How about a football helmet? Huh? Protect your skull. What else? Anything else? Protect your skull from what? Dents, fractures, skull fractures. What else? What else would a helmet protect you from? Excuse me? She said that. She said concussions. Can a helmet stop a concussion? It won't stop all concussions, that's for sure. All right? Especially now, because concussions happen in two different types of forces. One is straight on, and what kind? What kind of force is that going to be? It's in a straight line, so it would be linear. Okay? What about those concussions where you turn your head? Those are rotational forces, and there's not anything that's going to stop that. All right? So, helmets, we see them. I like to see them in football. You see them in baseball and softball? Yeah. What else we got up there? How about hockey? You know, back in the day, it's only been about 20 years that they've made hockey players wear hockey helmets. And when I was a kid, Bobby Clark, he was the man with the Philadelphia Flyers. Never wore a helmet. All right, check this out. Just since I've been alive, they made hockey goalies wear a face mask. Now they have to wear a helmet, but it used to be just a face mask. It used to be before that they didn't wear a face mask at all. Yeah, well, their face, they had, they'd smile, they'd have no teeth. All right, How about track? Track. You don't think they should wear a helmet in track? That's not a bad place to wear it. Yeah, I mean, there's been people that've been hit in the head down at shot put in the discus ring. No, they're just typical kids, and they just don't pay attention, and they start walking out across the field, and here comes a 16-pound cannonball. All right, boom. All right, it's going to cause some problems. What other event? No, in track. I'd like to see it to where it was mandatory to wear it at pole vaulting. You're going up in the air, all right, 15 feet. That's quite a bit, 15 feet, 17 feet. I think the record's somewhere around 19. That's pretty high up. And force gravity is what? 9.8 meters per second squared. So you're accelerating on the way down, and if you don't hit that box, you're in trouble, right? You don't hit in that mat box. How about rodeo? Yeah. Do they make? Is that mandatory? No. There's still knuckleheads out there that wear cowboy hats. So I said that's not too great. So yeah, they put. So I would like to see where they have a mask on and a helmet. It's what I think they should wear. But I've seen. I used to work rodeo. You ever seen that on TV? Mesquite Rodeo. I used to work it all the time. Guy got out. First bull of the night got out. Fell off on the first jump. Second jump, the bull's still there. Second jump, cowboy's on the ground already. He got stomped on his chest, and it came up and hit him in his jaw. Now he's got a great big laceration on his jaw, and it knocked him out. Next jump, it hit him in the face. Okay? Had no helmet, just his little cowboy hat on. Not a real good idea. So, what about boxing? Pretty much only boxing. I mean, if it's Olympic boxing, they have to wear headgear. If it's pro boxing, they don't. And soccer. How about soccer? Yeah. Well, you've seen quite a bit of soccer this year. So here's your homework. I want to know about soccer helmets. You can email it to me. You can text it to me. You can print it off and bring it tomorrow. Yeah. Yes. You research. Go find me a soccer helmet. Yes. You can look it up on the phone and like copy the URL, the web address, and send it to me. You can, finger swipe it, take a picture, and then put it in a text message. But I want to know that you guys go and find me a soccer helmet. Did you know that soccer players who play professionally, so they've been playing 20, 30 years? Y'all ever seen Muhammad Ali? Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Have you seen him since he's retired? He has Parkinson's. He shakes. He can barely talk. Think of how many times that in a 30-year career that he got punched in the head. A bunch. Did you know that there are soccer players that end up the same way from heading the ball over and over and over? So that's one of the reasons I really think that you need to wear a helmet. What is the number one sport for concussions? What is number two? Break it down by gender. Nope, not baseball. Nope. Nope. Women's soccer. The number two sport for concussion. Isn't that something? All right. So make sure that you got your homework, that you know what you're doing. All right. NOCSAE, the National Operating Committee on Standards of Athletic Equipment, NOCSAE. You'll see it imprinted in every helmet. It's even part of the plastic. NOCSAE approved. If it's not NOC approved, you can't wear it. All right. Baseball, when you go to a dugout, they'll ask to see the catcher's equipment. I want to see his helmet. If it doesn't have that NOC stamp on it, you don't get to play with it. Yep, you got to go find something else. So that's everywhere across the country. So it's developed a certification standard for football helmets. It's gone from football helmets to baseball helmets. Have you all ever seen a Little League baseball helmet? What's on the inside? Huh? It is foam, but it's everywhere, right? And so the helmet sits way out there. Now, when you ever watch pro baseball, do they look like they wear Little League helmets? You know what's on the inside of pro baseball helmet? One piece of leather around here with foam. The top of it might have a itty bitty piece of foam, but the most of it is just for show. All right? They have a little piece down here that covers that one ear pad because they don't wear a double-sided one, right? So which is better? Little League baseball, yeah. Little League baseball hats or helmets are usually better than what the pros wear. So the approved helmets must protect against concussive forces that may injure the brain, and a concussion is usually caused by a collision from another player or turf. But we know now that every helmet's not going to stop a concussion because, like, if I go up to catch a football and somebody takes my legs out and I hit my butt and bam, my head now hits the turf, my brain's inside there, my head hits the turf, and the brain is still going and bounces off the skull. No helmet's going to stop that. But at the same time, a helmet should absorb some of the forces. And they do that by a decelerator. They get this little plastic head, right? And they lift it up 10 feet. And inside that head is a little deal that measures how much force is being in the middle of that plastic head. And they kick it and they drop it and it comes down, boom, hits a big old piece of oak. And that oak stops it immediately, and then that wire goes to the computer. It tells you how many G forces just went through that decelerator. Then they'll put a football helmet on them, or whatever kind of helmet, and they'll lift it up to the same height to make sure that the outside of the helmet's the same place to where that outside of that head is, because otherwise you might have that much less to fall. Boom! What you'll see instead of a big spike, you'll see a smaller spike. It absorbs some of the linear force, but it's not going to absorb all of it. And it's not going to do anything whatsoever for a rotational force. So even though they're trying to use a helmet and say that it's going to prevent a concussion, it's not going to happen. So we got football helmets. All right, we're going to watch a little film if I can find it tomorrow on YouTube that was on the news. Oh gosh, it was a terrible, terrible piece. But I'll try and find it. Schools. Let's talk about high schools. So what would it be okay? Would it be okay for a high school to have 20-year-old football helmets? Why? Huh? He says it's out of date. You say it's old. It might break. They're made out of plastic and metal. How are they going to break? One, it might not meet the NOC, the new NOC standards. That's a good deal. What about plastic? Does plastic degrade? It does. It can get brittle. Okay. So on the inside of a helmet, they have little air bladders. And what are those air bladders made out of? Like a rubber. And so if that rubber degrades and it wears out, it's not holding as much air. And every time you hit, it can let just a little bit of air out. There was a guy that played football in Houston, not the Oilers, but the Houston Gamblers. Everybody knows about them, right? The Houston Gamblers. Have you heard of them? Yeah, they were with the USFL. So anyways, the trainer down there, he's out there watching practice one day, and one of the ball players gets hit in the head, boom, and he's woo, loopy, right? That's really not wasn't his name. I think that was his sister's name, Lupe. So Anyway, his teammate is laughing like crazy about this dude getting the fire knocked out of his head. He goes, ah, ha, ha, ha. Trainer comes up and says, "What is so funny?" He said, "I let the air out of his helmet before practice." Yeah, it wasn't too funny. He got fined quite a bit of money. He probably played 2 or 3 games without getting paid. So um, it's important that you have your helmet. All right, that you have certainly have new helmets. Make sure they're NOx stay approved annually. Now, we not necessarily can afford to do that annually, but you probably need to do it biannually, every other year. And what they'll do is they'll take all those helmets that they wear out there, and they'll put them in a great big bag. A huge truck comes, picks them up, and they take them off to San Antonio. And they put each helmet up on that decelerator and make it drop. If any of them do not fall within your NOx stay standards, it gets disqualified. We'll take that helmet, we'll turn it in, we'll buy a different helmet, and we get a trade-in price for that one. They'll also either, like, if your school paints their helmet, they'll also repaint them, put new face mask on, etc., depending upon what kind of package you want to buy from the reconditioner. All right? And you also have to have your assumption of risk on every one of your helmets. They put that thing on everywhere. It's on the inside, usually 2 or 3 times. It's on the outside of a helmet. It's on our physical paperwork. Everywhere it's there. Remember remember the movie we showed you about the McDonald's lady? They did not necessarily She didn't necessarily win because, well, one, she got burned, yes, and now that you know the facts, it was third-degree burns. But also, there's failure to warn, all right? Which means that no matter what, you've got to tell people if your product can cause harm. Now, how many of you came to school in a bus today? Nobody? How about in a car? Everybody come into school in a car? Does those people who raised your hand that came to school in a car, do any of you know, absolutely know, that if you ride in a car, you could get in a wreck and die? I mean, I know that. Anybody else? But you still rode in the car anyway. As soon as you opened that door and you sat down, you assumed the risk that you might get in a car wreck and die. Now, what are the odds of that? Obviously not too high, because y'all made it here, and you've made it here all year long, and then you go all sorts of places besides just the school. So think about how many times you get in the car. If you did it twice a day for every day of school, it's 180 days of school, so you get 360 times just to go to and from school. And that doesn't even count the weekend, going and, once you get home, get in the car, we're going to the store, got to buy some groceries, you know? So every time that you get in the car, you assume that. Well, that's the other thing, is that helmet companies were being sued by parents of kids who had either broken their neck, got a concussion, etc. And the reason that they were losing these lawsuits is because there's no way that these parents were saying, well, I didn't know. I didn't know. Well, why not? You didn't warn me. So that's why it's everywhere now. And that's essentially the exact same sticker that's on every helmet, on the inside and the outside, and on every physical paper. Now, the UIL, who, we got to do all that physical paper for, they don't require it. But since we write the paper right there on that cool computer, I put it in there because I want to make sure that I'm covered. Because who do you think who do you think a parent's going to sue? They're going to sue me, her, and the coach. All right. So I'm going to try and make sure that that's on there. Okay. So when you're fitting a football helmet, you need to have that player's hair wet. So get one of those little spray bottles, just put some water in it, and you just go, just get them wet a little bit. Why do you do that? Because when he's kneading it, he's going to be sweating, and he's sweaty. He's got wet hair, so you want it to fit, as opposed to we got the one dude with a great big fro. All right, so if he's got a great big fro, he's going to have a bigger helmet because he's got the hair padding. But if he goes and gets a haircut and trims it all the way down, you know what we have to do? We got to go get him another football helmet, one that's going to fit him now, because he got rid of all that holding in between his helmet and his head. So that's why we wet the hair. We need to follow the manufacturer's guidelines on how to fit a helmet. And if you don't have somebody that comes in, guess what there is in this world? It's the second greatest website. YouTube. You know what the first one is, right? Amazon. Buy anything you want there. So, follow the guidelines. If you're an athletic director, you would be very smart to have all of your coaches get together and have an in-service. I want you to work with him, and you show me the proper way of putting on a helmet. He gets done with that. You put the helmet on her head, make sure it fits right. And all the way through, that I'd have a notary there to notarize that this was done. If it was my place to do it, that might not necessarily happen. Call up Rydell, or they'll hit. Go to this site, so you know, and make sure you check routinely. Do you think he just put his helmet to fit? Probably. Thus, out his helmet, and so birds up there. Check for fit. Constantly hitting, knocked out of it. Say, practice on Thursday with a little helmet. Back up. Baseball. Get to fit. Down and hit your. Does. So check your upper altitude. Theory.